how can you look at your customer reviews different, sharing it with your product development team? How can you more effectively run your Amazon ad campaigns? Those are really going to be crucial steps to boosting your sales overall on Amazon. Welcome to the Natural Personal Care Podcast, your guide to personal care branding success. Every week, we'll unlock the secrets of eco-friendly marketing and share strategies that work. Are you ready to grow your brand on Amazon and beyond? Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Natural Personal Care Marketing Podcast. I'm Becky, your guide to navigating the, as I'm sure you know, ever-changing world of natural and sustainable personal care products. In today's episode, I'm really excited because we're going to dive into a really crucial topic for all you natural personal care brand owners and executives out there. And that is why your natural personal care products aren't selling, common mistakes that might be happening for you on Amazon. And stick around because we're going to uncover the common pitfalls and, more importantly, how to avoid them. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's take a moment to understand why Amazon is such a big deal in the e-commerce world, if you don't already know. Amazon is more than just a platform. It's actually a huge powerhouse, and it continues to dominate the market despite new platforms coming over the years going. And for natural personal care brands, being successful on Amazon, it really isn't just beneficial. I see it as really essential. So if you're wanting, for instance, to expand into retail stores in the future, did you know that stores are going to use info like what are your sales on Amazon to see and decide if they give you shelf space? And if you're looking, for instance, to also generate PR opportunities to get on those coveted lists that are a lot of times endorsed by big names, many times they won't even consider adding your name into the running if you don't already have a presence on Amazon's platform. This marketplace, it really has unparalleled reach and customer access because there's millions of shoppers every month that are there and they're ready to buy. That's going to really significantly boost your brand's visibility and sales. But in order to tap into that potential, you do need to play by Amazon's rules. So let me share with you where things often go wrong. Now, many natural personal care brands, they make avoidable mistakes that can hinder their success on Amazon. And I'm going to share with you some of the most common ones that we've seen over the years. Poor product listings is one of them. This really includes kind of incomplete, maybe you even have inaccurate product descriptions, you lack high quality images, and you have ineffective keywords that are there that aren't really giving you the visibility that you need. Your product listing is that's that initial impression that customers are getting when they're deciding if they even want to buy from your brand or not. So it does need to be inviting on the listing, informative to the customer that you can solve their need, their problem. And I've done a deeper dive on this, so you'll want to go back and listen to episode 3 where I go into more details about your Amazon product listing. But something that I do like to remind brands of is that anyone who gets your product is actually able to set up a product listing for you and sell it on Amazon because Amazon has what's called an open marketplace. So it is possible that if you don't set up your own listing, someone else can. And typically, it's not always done the best way. You've probably seen those listings too. They've got really bad photos or images, like there's very little information in the bullet points, and that's not good, right? So if you were to ever start selling your own brand on Amazon, technically, you would actually need to list your product on that listing that someone created instead, because Amazon doesn't want to have what's called a duplicate listing. The second thing I want to mention is pricing issues. So overpricing your products compared to your competitors, or you're not using dynamic pricing strategies that can also end up driving potential customers away. And that is really true on Amazon. You obviously must understand your market, but for Amazon, you should also understand what are people paying for similar or your competitor products, because unlike when they're going just to your website, they're going to be seeing a lot of different offers, and they're going to be seeing, even when they go to your listing, there's a lot of different ads that will show up for them. So pricing is something to definitely consider, and that's kind of something that you want to remember. Inventory management is something else. So frequent stockouts or inaccurate inventory tracking, you can actually then have lost sales from that, and people that are not happy because they go to a listing expecting your product to be there and available and it's not there. So that is another common mistake. Another mistake is you're just ineffective with your advertising and you're doing maybe poorly targeted ad campaigns. You're not leveraging Amazon pay-per-click effectively. And that can really result in wasted ad spend with very little return. So your return on ad spend can be very low if you're not doing it the right way. Okay, now that we know some of the common mistakes, let's focus on how to turn things around. Now, the first one is optimizing your product listing. So writing compelling product descriptions and bullets and your title that highlight your unique benefits of your natural product. Use professional images, use video to really showcase your products. And also, don't forget to incorporate those relevant, highly ranking keywords or highly searched keywords to really give your brand more visibility. And once again, go back to episode 3. I'll have that linked in the show notes as well. If you haven't already listened to that one will really kind of go more into depth about that than I will right now. Second is competitive pricing strategies. So this is kind of a strategy to make sure that you're really helping your sales on Amazon, and that is to ensure that your prices are competitive. And this is something that you can test out different price points pretty easily on Amazon to see how that affects your sales. So this is great that Amazon allows you to, change your price pretty quick, easily. You can also, for instance, use coupons or promotions to see if when you offer a discount to customers, does that then increase your conversion so much so that it would then make sense to adjust your typical price point to that price point that you're noticing a lot more sales happening on. Now, also keep in mind when people are shopping online, which is very different than a retail store, they're going to have a hard time seeing size differences. So sometimes your competitor, they could look like they're less expensive due to their size, but they might be paying more per ounce. It's just really hard with images. And, unless people are reading things, obviously it should be in the title as well, the size of your product. But sometimes that's not as obvious, especially before they even go clicking into something. They might just be looking at that initial price. So something that you can do in this regards is you could offer various sizes that people are used to buying on Amazon. So that way you can stay in the running without losing your margin or having to degrade your price too much. So third is efficient inventory management. This is really key. And this is kind of the boring stuff, especially if you are the CEO of your natural personal care brand or even the CMO listening. You're maybe not as much thinking about operations, but as I'm sure you know, that is going to affect your bottom line, right? So you really want to implement those best practices for inventory tracking, for managing your inventory. Amazon has its own tools. There's softwares as well that'll help you keep your inventory in check at Amazon. And I'm talking more about the fulfilled by Amazon that you don't want to run out of stock in if you're using that, and hopefully you are. But FBM as well, you don't want that to run to zero. You want to avoid stockouts because, like I said, it's just not really helpful at all. I'll explain more in just a minute. And Amazon, like I said, does have their own tool. We personally have created an Excel file that we have formulas in, and we use that for our clients that we tell them exactly how much to send in, because something to be aware of too is when you're sending in an inventory, Amazon, as of this year, 2024, they do now charge you if you have too little of inventory. They used to never do that. So if you have under 28 days, as of the time I'm recording this, or also they'll charge you if you have too much inventory. So you have to kind of get that sweet spot. Staying in stock and not running out of stock is huge, because what happens is when you run out of stock, you're going to then hurt your organic keyword ranking. That means where you're showing up on searches on Amazon that is not a paid search ad on Amazon. And that is really going to be key. And SEO on Amazon, it's just super important because you don't want your ads to carry all of your sales. You definitely want your ads to support and boost your sales and increase your sales. That kind of helps expedite that. But if you're relying too much on that, especially when things get more expensive, certain times of the year, like Q4 is a lot more expensive to run ads on. It's almost like all brands decide, hey, I'm going to start running ads that, haven't been running them year round, because we always typically, depending on your niche, we'll usually see like an increase in cost per click. But you want to make sure that you're staying in stock. Otherwise, you're going to lose that ranking and then you're going to have to kind of gain it back. And sometimes it's actually a little bit challenging to do that. And we've seen that happen. So fourth is you're wanting to manage your reviews and ratings. So you want to encourage customers to leave reviews, right? Because very few customers, percentage-wise, usually do. It's usually 1% to 2% on Amazon. But for Amazon, and this is very different probably than your website, if you're selling on Shopify, you have to be careful not to incentivize the reviews. Also not wanting to lead them into giving you just positive feedback, because that can ultimately get you in trouble with Amazon. This is where it's a little bit different. So you just have to keep that in mind if you're not already. And another thing is you just don't want to ignore customer feedback or not address negative issues or reviews that come through, because obviously that can harm your reputation, because people are looking at Amazon, and it can also deter new customers. And social proofing is huge on Amazon. So you really want to make sure you're taking that into consideration, what customers are saying on your reviews on Amazon. A lot of times when they're in physical stores, if you start getting your products there, they will, I've done this, people will open up their phones, they'll look on Amazon, find the product, see what it got rated, right? And so social proofing is huge. Also, you might see new issues pop up that you haven't experienced before, because if you're using FBA, you may see new issues pop up. So think about how you're packaging your product. Think about, do you need to add maybe a new seal on it? Because if you're starting to see a lot of reviews about product spilling, maybe there's a different type of seal that you could do, especially if you're sending in product to Amazon's warehouse. These are just things that you need to consider when sending an inventory to Amazon. Okay, next, let's talk about effective advertising techniques. So I mentioned ads as a common problem. So really a strategy for this, you want to create targeted ad campaigns that are really going to speak to that ideal customer that you're trying to target. And you can use Amazon PPC to really increase your product's visibility in ways that people are already primed and ready to buy on Amazon, unlike, Facebook ads or on Instagram or even on Google. A lot of people are more on Amazon ready to just buy something. And especially if they don't have like a brand in mind, but they're looking for a product that your product might fulfill that need of, you want to get more visibility, and that'll really help drive sales. And I'm not going to discuss a ton about ads today, but go back and listen to episode 4 if you want to really learn more about using ads to drive sales growth for your brand on Amazon, and that'll help you there. When we think about these strategies, let me give you kind of like an example of what we've seen happen, success stories of natural personal care brands that have overcome common mistakes and really then thrived on Amazon. So for a client of ours, product listings and optimizing those are really big. So when we have done new Amazon SEO rich copy, so it's based on, keyword research of what are people actually searching on the Amazon platform specifically, not Google, not elsewhere. Those keywords usually aren't as relevant. There are going to be some overlapping, but a lot of times people are searching differently on Amazon. So in the copy, we incorporated a lot more keywords that people are actually looking for. We've added A+ content, and we've been able to see over 30% increase in sales on that one listing. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, that is just for 1 month, it was increasing sales. But then once you have that content, you're going to then in the future really help, especially with A+. Amazon says on average, 6% increase in conversion for updating just the A+ content or adding it to there if it doesn't already exist on your listing. And we've seen well over 6%. Technically seen over like around 50%. That is very untypical though. So I don't like to really share that data point because I don't think that is something that you should always expect. But anywhere from over 6%, and like I said, 30% we saw. So that kind of range is what you can expect to see with adding new content. And also in that case, with 30% increase, we were doing more than just A+ content. Like I said, we were actually calling the whole listing so that the keywords are actually then connected to what people are actually typing in on Amazon. So that's just one example. And then from a previous client that we had in the natural personal care space, they were offering a neuropathy topical oil. And we focused on a few things that I've mentioned. So one of the things we focused in on was inventory management efficiently, keeping everything in stock, and also responding to customer feedback. We were regularly requesting reviews for this brand. This led to then higher ratings and repeat customers for them. So over the course of, the years that we were working with them, we were able to help them get over 10,000 product reviews. And on average, their product review rating was over a 4-star rating. That was, like I said, over the years that we worked with frankincense and myrrh, we were able to really also expand their products that they offered on Amazon, which was cool. They kind of went from one main hot seller, hero type product to adding two additional products to their product line, which obviously that is another way to increase sales as well, right? So a key tip that I like to emphasize is continuous optimization. And this might be different depending on the size of your catalog. Obviously, if you have a larger catalog, you might be going through in a nice cycle. If you have only like 1 or 2 or 3 products, you may not be doing this as frequent. But Amazon's marketplace is dynamic, right? So you want to stay updated with the latest trends, what people are typing in, and also best practices. And that's going to be a huge difference for your listings on Amazon. So that means that your product listings shouldn't be a set it and forget it, because Amazon, they're continually offering new ways to boost sales. Because keep in mind, Amazon is invested because they actually want brands that are selling on their platform to sell more, because Amazon obviously does have a referral fee for every sale that happens on Amazon. So obviously that they're going to be offering and giving brands more tools all the time. So things like Premium A Plus content that just came available. It was like later in 2023. I think it was around November. That's something that's newer still in 2024 that brands are actually not all using. And by not using it, they're missing out on additional sales every month, because Amazon has sent emails with data saying that feature, has helped increase sales by up to 20%. So if you were just leaving your listing as is, your competitors are not typically doing that, at least those that are doing Amazon really well. So that's something to keep in mind, that you'll want to always make sure you're doing that. And also there might be new trending keywords that when previous keyword research was done on Amazon, people weren't even searching it. Think about, castor oil. It seems like it really kind of popped off in the last year or two. And 5 years ago, it may have not even been a little bit on the radar. But that is something that if you were not paying attention to, and if that was extremely relevant to your product, and that was like an element of your product, obviously don't just add keywords in there just because, but if it was relevant for your product, and that was an ingredient, you would want to make sure that that's in your title or your bullets, because then you're going to get more visibility, because Amazon's going to put it in front of people if they think that that's going to be something that'll lead to a sale. Okay, I shared a lot, but to recap, we talked about the most common mistakes that natural personal care product brands can make on Amazon. I've also really shared some actionable strategies to overcome them. So of those strategies that I shared, my action item for you today would be thinking which one can you test today that you have not done in a while. So maybe you did update and optimize your listing. I mean, you could be listening and you've never even set up a listing. That would be a great starting point. But let's say you already have an existing listing. Maybe you could re-optimize it. Maybe you don't use all the elements that are offering by Amazon Seller Central. Think of one step that you can do today that'll help you to overcome those common mistakes that I shared. And, how can you look at your customer reviews different, sharing it with your product development team? How can you more effectively run your Amazon ad campaigns? Those are really going to be crucial steps to boosting your sales overall on Amazon. So I hope that you found today's episode helpful. If you're ready to review your Amazon strategy, now's the time. And for more resources, we have our website, clickfluency.com. If you want to just drop us an email as well, maybe you have a specific question you want to hear on a future episode or related to this episode, just email us at contact@clickfluency.com. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening from. That way you'll be notified when a new episode releases every week. Make sure to share this with your network. Also, we do have a new Facebook group for brands that are in the natural personal care space. It is not an open group. It is something that we review before letting people in. So the link to request to join, it's going to be in the show notes below. So go there and you can click on that link there. And make sure to stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to dive into more strategies to really help your brand thrive on Amazon with e-commerce in general. So thank you for listening to the Natural Personal Care Marketing Podcast. I hope that you have a great day, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope it brought you value you can use to grow your Amazon sales channel for your brand. What would really help me a ton, like, you know how important product reviews are on Amazon? Would you take a quick minute and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts? Just scroll down until you see the write a review in purple, and then you can click the leave the rating and review there. That'll help me to know you're getting value from this and what future content you want to hear more of that would serve you best. Thank you so much.